You know, Goku's such a terrible father. I mean, look at the way he saves Gohan all the time. Hello there, beautiful friends from every corner of this globe. I am your host, Blackenfist, and today I'm going to be talking about something that I've heard a lot of people say. It's almost a meme of sorts that has spread around on its own, and that is, Goku is a terrible father. Well guys, I don't take anything at face value, so today in this video I'm going to be examining Goku strictly as a father and how he made his decisions throughout the whole series, strictly through the lens of him being a father. So let's just dive in right into this video. One of the very first relevant decisions is actually in the beginning. When Raditz comes down, he's much stronger than Goku or Piccolo. So Goku on his own really has no chance. So when Piccolo offers him a teamwork opportunity to go against Raditz, Goku jumps on that opportunity. To him, this is not really about beating an opponent, it's about saving his son Gohan. Let me remind you guys, Goku isn't a character that likes to receive help in fights. This is the kind of guy who doesn't like the Spirit Bomb or Fusion because it relies on outside help. But Goku here puts those things aside because it's way more important to save his son's life. So I say that's 1 point on the good father side. So during the fight, Goku gets his brother Raditz in a full Nelson and sacrifices himself to kill Raditz. This is very important. Why do you may ask, you say? Well guys, we already know that Goku and Piccolo by themselves are not strong enough to take Raditz, but something also needs to be made clear here. If Piccolo didn't know the special beam cannon, even their combined strength is still not enough. So Goku had no choice but to get rid of Raditz in that kind of way. I just want to tell you guys, if Goku didn't get rid of Raditz, then most certainly he would have taken Gohan, and very likelihood that Raditz would have killed Gohan. Why do I say this? Well, if Gohan showed his power like we saw him do, Raditz immediately had the instinct of wanting to kill him. This would have inevitably happened, and Raditz would have definitely have killed him when he brought him up into space. If Gohan never got the chance to kill Raditz when he unleashed his power, and Raditz survived, Gohan would have died right there. So that's a huge good father point on my view. Next in line, Goku saves his son Gohan not once but twice from Nappa. I'm going to include another good father point for this. So next up in line, during the fight with Vegeta, Goku's body completely becomes useless and he was not able to use it. Because of this, Krillin and Gohan come back to fight him. In a very desperate situation, Goku tells Gohan to fight Vegeta. This puts Gohan in extreme amounts of danger. He could have easily have been killed in this fight. Now I understand why Goku did this. He did this because there was no one else around besides Yajirobe, and there was only one way to really kill Vegeta, and that's only if Krillin and Gohan fight. So I understand why he did it. It's because there was no one else to do it. But regardless of that, he's still putting his son Gohan in extreme danger. Not to mention, he could have been easily killed in this fight. So I'm going to put the first bad father point on this one. So next up we go to Namek, and Gohan's fighting against Raccoon. Gohan gets his neck snapped, and he pretty much becomes a vegetable. He is as close to death as he can come. Thankfully, Goku comes to Namek and saves Gohan from certain death. Now guys, we go into the Cell Saga, and we see here that Goku is now training with Gohan in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber. But not only is he training with his son, more importantly, he helps him push his son to become a Super Saiyan, and he is a very integral part to that. The way I view this is a father teaching his son how to drive, or teaching him a new skill, or passing down something. So Goku, I think, really is doing a good father role here by leading his son in how to do all these things, and in this case, how to turn into a Super Saiyan. Now during the Cell fight, Gohan gets into a really bad spot. Cell grabs a hold of him and Gohan is not able to get out of that position by himself. But what does Goku do about this? Well, it's very important to note that Goku has a lot of faith in his son. Because Goku has trained with Gohan in the Hyperbolic Time Chamber, he has seen the power that Gohan has, and he knows for a fact, in his mind at least, that Gohan can beat Cell. However, the question is, can Gohan even bring that power out during the fight when it matters? But what's very interesting here is what Piccolo reacts to this. All Piccolo's seeing is Gohan getting the life squeezed out of him and Goku refusing to help Gohan because he has faith that Gohan can do it on his own. Now, it's good that Goku has faith in his son. However, I do think Goku misjudged the character of his own son here. I have said before, Gohan is not a fighter, and that is exactly what Piccolo says to Goku. Gohan has never been a fighter. He has never been like you, Goku. He's not that way. That's not how your son is. And the real bad point for Goku here is that he failed to understand the nature of his own son. And not even worse than that, Piccolo understood the nature of his own son in that situation. Gohan was not able to get out of that position by himself. Gohan was not a fighter, and I think Goku in that moment put too much faith in Gohan. So I have to put a bad parent point on Goku here, because even though Goku was and then eventually right, he was wrong in that situation because Gohan was not going to get out of that by himself. Now we're going to move on to a fairly easy one to judge. This is one of Goku's most heroic acts, but it's also a heroic act, I think, as a father. Goku once again, for the second time, sacrifices himself for his son and the whole planet to get Cell off the planet. This is, I think, one of Goku's most heroic acts. And definitely, without him, his son, including the whole Earth, would have been destroyed. So I think this is a very, very good thing here that shows how selfless Goku is and ready to save others. This includes his son. The next moment comes when Cell actually comes back in his super perfect form, if that even makes sense. And he came back more powerful than ever. At this point, Gohan is injured and is starting to doubt himself. Gohan, looking at Cell, is pretty much accepting death right there, and he's accepting defeat. This is when Goku steps in and reminds him that he does have the strength to do it. He reminds Gohan not to back down, that you have it in you, I know you do. I think this is another very good father point because it made Gohan realize that he does have this strength in him, and if it wasn't for Goku talking Gohan into this, the whole planet would have pretty much been killed off. Then there's the whole father-son Kamehameha wave. Not only did Goku talk Gohan into doing the clash with Cell, he also motivated him toward the whole thing. He was there with Gohan in spirit, motivating him the whole way. I would have to put another good father point on that. Now, after the fight with Cell, something else interesting happens. Goku decides not to come back to life. He decides to stay in the other world. Now, there's two opposing arguments to this. Goku's reasoning and his absence. His reasoning is that it's too dangerous for him to come back. He would be putting the whole planet, this includes his son, so he would be putting his son in danger by coming back and possibly getting his son killed because he's attracting all of these chaotic things towards him. But then there's the other argument that now his son is going to grow up without his father, is going to grow up without his guidance. So these are the two opposing arguments. Is it better for his son to grow up in a much safer situation without his father, or in a much more dangerous situation with his father? I think that Goku could have handled, even though he is putting his family's lives at risk, I do think Goku could have handled whatever threat came his way. However, I do realize that if Goku had stayed on Earth, he would have not become as strong as he would have been in this series, because he probably would have became Super Saiyan 3. There are some downsides to him staying on Earth, but we're looking through this through the lens of just a father. And as a father, I do feel he should have came back, even though it might have been much more dangerous in the future because he would have been much weaker in that point. But however, I am going to add another bad father point to this one.
Now, I've already gone more in depth on this point on another video. In fact, if you would like to get more detail on this one, the link is in the description. But Goku's actions at the end of Dragon Ball Z are absolutely despicable, especially as a father, considering the fact that he could be teaching his son Goten or Gohan the things that he knows, but instead decides to teach it to this kid he just met. Not to mention, he's actually a pretty bad grandfather in this as well.
And the last point I want to make is that when Kid Buu was destroying the planet Earth and Goku was trying to leave it, he chose to save Dende and Hercule over his own sons. Now, people could say, well, Goku made a calculation that he wouldn't be able to make it in time to save his sons. However, you're still leaving your sons behind and saving some other people. Even Vegeta got on his ass for that. So what's the score total? Well, it's obviously on the good side. I also want to add, guys, that I also had a lot of other good points, but I actually had to skim down Goku's good points because it was getting ridiculous on how one-sided that was going to be. Now, I might have missed some bad points, but I also want to talk about something here. A lot of what I hear about Goku being a bad father is because he is absent from his sons' lives. He is not there. But Goku's either absent for two reasons. One, he died. And both times he died was because he sacrificed himself, and he had to do that in order for everyone to live. If he hadn't sacrificed himself the first time, his son would have definitely have been kidnapped, taken to space, and most likely killed. And the second time he sacrificed himself, his son would have definitely have died along with the whole planet. So I don't understand this criticism of that. And the other reason Goku's absent is because he's training. Now, the way I view this is that Goku doesn't have a job. He doesn't need a job. He doesn't need money. He lives out in the wild where he lives off the land. So he doesn't need money. But Goku, I say, still has a job. What is his job? To protect the Earth. And how does he do that? Well, he needs to be training in order for him to keep up in his peak condition in order to do that. If he is not in a peak condition to do that, he could very well have the Earth in danger or his own family in danger. This includes his sons. So I say his training is his job, and by him doing that, I say he's being a good father. But overall, guys, I would have to say Goku's a good father, and looking through the show again, skimming down all the very important points as a father, I would have to say so that he is. I don't know, really, how this whole perception of Goku being a bad father really came from. Because when I view it, to me it kind of seemed a little strange. Because, as I said before, the biggest argument for Goku being a bad father was because he wasn't absent. But most of the time he was absent, he was dead. Now, Goku isn't the only father in Dragon Ball. We also have his arch rival, Vegeta. And if you guys want to know whether Vegeta is a good father or not, Qaaman actually made a video on this topic. So you can go check it out, the link is in the description. It'll be an analysis similar to this video about Vegeta's fatherhood. But anyway, guys, I hope that you agreed with some of my points. And of course, I'm pretty sure some people are gonna say that I missed a couple points or I misinterpreted something, so I'll be happy to hear that in the comments. But as always, guys, I am Blackenfist, and I am out.